Hi guys, we're getting started here. Hopefully everything's good. We get this little thing here, so move that out of the way so you can see there. For those of you who may be here for the first time or just joining us, my name is Mike Lasco. I'm the community manager on Project Spark. I'm joined with Henry Sturchy, the creative director, and we also is Rob here? Rob on screen.
Yep.
And Rob is the how do you pronounce your last name, Rob?
Porshki.
Porshki. Rob is, what is your title?
Senior game designer.
Senior game designer.
So Rob works with Jared, Professor Jared, and Slayton, and myself, and Reeb. And we got to thank Rob for being here today. It's a tough time for Rob. The Yankees were officially eliminated.
Oh, man, that's... oh, wait,
So
speaking of that.
We have to thank... Oh, here we go.
You know.
Yeah.
Rob, you did know I'm a Red Sox fan, right?
Yes, I assumed.
Well,
Yeah.
I heard that Brian Cashman is going to buy another playoff slot.
Oh,
So I think
man,
that was
you know.
And I can joke because my team is eliminated in May. So
Yeah. Well,
I'm about 6 months past grieving
Nice.
for the Mets.
Well, you know, the Mariners, we you know, those of us in Seattle have a lot to talk about.
That's right.
So, guys, yeah, just let us know if everything's coming through okay, and we're going to kind of get started here. So, today we have a few things we want to go through. We're going to be showing, at least initially, we're going to be showing off the Windows 8 PAX build. This is the build that we created for PAX. That's very final and doesn't have too much new stuff in it. That hopefully is pretty stable. We're going to be using an Xbox 360 PC controller to control it. And then afterwards, we may go to our alpha build, the one that we're currently working with alpha, maybe.
Well, we're starting on the alpha. So
Okay,
we're
no, so
starting on the
right.
alpha.
Oh, so we are on
And
the
then we're
alpha,
gonna go
and then
over
we
to
go to the
PAX.
PAX.
Yeah.
See, I wrote all these notes. I don't even look at them.
I changed that stuff on you, and you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I wish I could blame that one on you. But thanks for trying to take that. So that's it. And we know, like, there's been a lot of talk about people want to inventories, the big thing, and we've always said, look, it's hard to do. It's takes time. It and then well,
Yeah.
now we're going to show you that.
So we had a question about where these builds are. The alpha build is several months old, and the PAX build is in between alpha and beta, but closer to alpha,
Yeah, the alpha build
So-
is 3 months.
somewhere in there.
3 months.
So not quite up to date. We had the one build a little while ago where we sort of rolled the dice with a new build. That was probably one of the more recent ones. This one's a little bit older. All right, so let's get people started here. So Project Spark is basically a game about making games. It's an open world digital canvas where you can make your own games, stories, movies, use Connect Capture to make those cool movies, potentially impersonate people, and do things like that, and then share it with the world. So we have a big community ready to make some games. We talk about the kind of 5 main things you do in Project Spark, which is you paint the world, which allows you to fill in the world with color and do things. You can sculpt the world. Some of the stuff that we always show here is quickly being able to sculpt different shapes and little mountains. Instead of doing the expand tool, I'm going to go ahead and use the add tool here, and I'm going to show how you can pretty quickly just rough in some terrain. We have full real-time 3D terrain editing, so you can punch through tunnels and do all types of fun stuff with plateaus and jumps. I'll go ahead and go to one of the tunnel tools here, and then you can go ahead and you can use the biome brush, which allows you to place objects and paint at the same time. That allows you to very quickly fill in your world. You can see here trees are popping all over the place already. Let me bring my brush down for in here. And every object in Project Spark is programmable. It has a brain, and you can use a visual programming language to program it. So very quickly, just like that, we have a little environment for our character to run around in. And when we talk about being able to program any object, most objects come with default brains, so they just work. So you can go ahead, I don't know if you guys see what I did there. I did a T shape. I don't know if you noticed. But you can just go ahead and throw objects in the game, and they just work. Or you can go ahead and modify the properties on those objects. Or you can build your objects from scratch, remix things that already exist, and that is sort of the kind of quick overview of Project Spark.
Well, I just looked down, I looked up, and looked a bunch of...
And there's a playable environment that I was able to...
No, I just saw flowers. I'm like,
okay.
Henry's just
Well, that
painting
happens.
flowers when I look around.
That happens.
Disappointed in the
So
lack of
let's hop
shape.
into the community. So one of the things we've talked about is what does the what can the community make? This is something that I just recently saw. It's pretty new, and I think it's a pretty cool example of a game that somebody was able to put together. This is one of the internal testers, internal to Microsoft, but not necessarily one of the external testers. So here you can see reminiscent of something like N Plus or Super Meat Boy. That light that just went on is a checkpoint there. You can see my character's got some momentum. We've got some kind of classic 2D platforming tropes. Whoa, I knew that was coming. And you can see here a little spike pit. And I forgot about the fire.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then you can just go ahead and spawn back at the checkpoint, get the fire out of there, hop through.
Oh.
Now this is one of the little classic pattern moments you can see here. So you got to wait the time on the fire, hopping through.
Oh.
And the cool thing about this is it is actually set up as a speed run. So at the end of this, there's a little timer, and you can imagine somebody making leaderboards and doing a bunch of other levels. Here, you're going to see I'm going to give it a thumbs up. That was pretty cool. So we give that a thumbs up. Now,
and that's just one example. That's not something that's not
just
a
one quick
super
example,
polished. I know
just a new thing that we found on there.
on the Xbox One Reddit, some people saying, "Hey, I haven't seen anything that really blows me away yet." And you're like, "Well, that's a good question. We need to do that."
Yeah.
But that's going to be something that we need to put a lot of time to really make something that looks awesome. Where this is sort of the things that we're putting together. But I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing is that is the same creator that has put together this inventory little level demo. So that's why it was a really cool segue. Mike, they're trying to remind you about shout-outs.
Oh, yeah. So Crow, first off, his first stream. So appreciate you making it out, Crow. I saw you in chat earlier. Kaza is here. And let's see, who else? I have notes somewhere, but, if I can find them. Not the most organized guy in the world. And it was Blood, what was it? Blood Crow, Blood...
That was the one on Facebook, yes.
Yes.
Cool. So,
Blood
shout-outs.
something.
So this is the inventory that they set up here. So you can see I can go ahead and I can pick up
Captain
healing
Blood.
bandage.
Captain Blood, sorry.
All right. So I can pick up a healing bandage, I can pick up an apple, I can hit the left bumper, and I can go ahead and go into this inventory and I can select them. So these will actually heal me when I'm damaged. I can hit the Y button and drop them back into the world. This is just somebody putting this together, so they threw in some just art into the UI that's in there for default and probably didn't spend a ton of time on that. Now, the really cool thing is I can go over here and I can pick up, if I get away from some of these bandages, I can pick up this axe and I can go ahead and swing the axe and it just works. And I can go ahead and I can pick up this crossbow. So now that I have a crossbow in the inventory, I can switch over to that.
That's cool. Can you show that again? Because I don't think people have seen that yet.
So I have a crossbow in my inventory.
So this is an inventory system. This is what everybody's been asking for. It's something mocked up in the game, and somebody did that. It wasn't with the help of our designers or anything. In fact, they would tell me it's really hard, and then suddenly,
in fact, like I was looking at the brains, and we don't, have a good breakdown yet for everything that's there because this is super new that they just put up. But it's amazing and it's powerful, and we'll show you exactly what you can do with it. So here I just swap back over to the hammer, and now let me show you another thing is that you can use this dynamically in gameplay. So here's some goblins they set up, and they don't do a ton of damage, and they have a really slow wind-up attack. That's something that you can set. They set this up in their level, and you can see I've taken some damage. So I can go ahead and go to my inventory, go to the apple, and watch the little red bar at the top, and boom, now I started to heal. So just like that, you've got a pretty cool inventory that somebody has dropped in. Another couple things that's cool is they have a bunch of different flavors of how they're tracking stuff. So here I can pick up some arrows for my crossbow. Here I can pick up some coins, and then when I go into the inventory, you can see the crossbow and the quiver's updating, and the coins are updating. So a lot of flexibility here. But let's talk about what does this mean to you, me, anybody who maybe hasn't made this. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go in here, and we talked about this a little bit, but you can actually use what we call multi-edit to grab a chunk of stuff.
And this is a question that we've seen a lot. Like people say, hey, well, can I get, you put something together, can you copy that? Can you copy a group of things? Can you make a bunch of traps and stuff and copy that? And that's what Henry's going to show right now.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab that. And then we got a bit of a debug thing there. So I just basically grab that out to save. I'm going to go ahead and name this. Go here and really quick. A inventory so I can find it really quick. Did I end up doing? Yep. And then save it. And now this is going to save out the inventory that we just saw that I was able to multi-select. All right, so let's get out of here. And that is the level that was in the community, and that's definitely a thumbs up. And we'll back out, and we'll go to where you're familiar. This is one of our old menus, so the other menu you've been seeing is the more recent one. And we'll go to Empty World. And now that we're in Empty World, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get rid of this character. And I went to multi-edit. I'm going to get rid of this character. And then I'm going to go into our gallery. And I'm going to hop up through our assemblies. And just like that, you can see down here, A Invin. And here's the assembly we just grabbed. I put it down in the world. And now we have it working in our world.
So let's recap real quick. So what Henry did is he went to what somebody had created, found a cool system, this inventory system that everybody likes. He copied it, saved it as an assembly, went out, started a new level, and now he's putting this in his new level. So now you're able to use what somebody else has made to make your level better, and that's really a big key about Project Spark.
Yeah, sorry. So this is why it's so important, when we talk about remixing and collaborating and sharing and things like that. Because now we're going to show you what does this mean to you and how sort of awesome this can be. So let's go ahead and let's go into one of the items that we saw here, which was the hammer, which I think I've just grabbed here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to the brain, and I'm going to copy this page from the brain. And we've got the hammer in there now. I copied the page. And then I'm going to quickly sort through here, and I'm going to type in sword, and I'm going to go and I'm going to throw a fighter sword into the level. So I put my own sword in. I'm going to put it back here so I can find it. And I'm going to go into the brain of this sword, and I'm going to go ahead and delete the default stuff that lets me equip it. And I'm going to paste in the page that we had from the other brain. That allows the inventory to call this as an item. So now what you'll see here is I can go ahead and pick up one of the things that they had in their level. I can go ahead and pick up the hammer. I can go ahead and pick up the sword that we just put down. I can go to the inventory, and I can swap to the sword that we just put in. So there's some cool stuff that you can do just by leveraging this inventory, grabbing it, sharing it out. Again, people collaborating is such a big experience. We talk about the Postal Service and how they made their CD and all that stuff. Like, that's a pretty big deal, and we think that's a really important part of Project Spark.
Yeah, and I think this is something that, the reason I want to bring this up, these are the questions that I'm seeing all the time on Reddit and on the forums and on Facebook and Twitter that people are asking about. Can I create a weapon? Can you pick it up? Can you equip it? Can you put stats on it? Can you make an inventory system? And we just saw this and said, wow, what a great opportunity for us to answer all those questions once and show you kind of the cool things to get you guys thinking about what can be done with Project Spark.
So, Mike, what were some of the things that people are asking about that they wanted to see on, like, weapons and items, since we're getting into inventory and maybe some RPG stuff?
A big thing that I think we take for granted, being with the team, is that you can put stats and items on that. But I think a lot of the community hasn't really seen that.
Right.
They just see sort of, hey, you pick up that sword. But with MMOs and other things, a big part of any type of RPG is getting weapons that have stats and that have effects and that do things.
Yep.
So if there's some way we could show, like, hey, you can get this and there are stats and it's going to affect you, I think that would be really cool.
Give me something big like 10. So what I did here is I went into this sword that we put down, and I said, again, our brains and our logic is all based on a visual programming language. It's based on Kodu. It's really simple and easy just to look at things and sort of understand what they do. We've got tile descriptions in there that can help. But the coolest thing is we have the ability to have sort of recommendations along with the stuff. So when you put one thing in, it'll kind of tell you the next thing that you can do. So I just quickly here threw together something that says when this is equipped, the countdown timer every second is going to go ahead and heal me for 10 hit points. So I can...
You'll need to add the player tile to that.
Yep.
Okay.
So I need to say heal player. So I can specify who it's going to heal. And then I can go ahead and go in here. And I can go and grab the sword that we put in. And I need some goblins, that's right, because we didn't grab the goblins from the assembly. So let's go ahead and grab some enemies in here. We'll just put down 2 guys for now so they can do some damage to us. Grab our sword. Where we put our enemies. There we go. Let's have them do some damage. You can see the red bar up top is our health. These guys, again, are default. And you can see this is already healing me. So as they hit me, it's healing. So I'm going to hand it over to Rob. We'll throw some stuff at Rob and see if Rob can work his magic. And then after this, Rob's going to start off a 2D side-scrolling platformer and sort of get people excited about that. So let's see. So what can we do here? Okay, we got the sword adding health. So can we make the number pop up over at like your head when it starts to heal you?
Sure. So we'll go in here and just add a child rule to this countdown timer, and we'll...
So one of the questions, real quick, was from Sporling was we wanted to know what happened with the goblins, because the goblins they've seen in previous streams act differently. So
back in alpha, they had a set of default brains, and they had attack and they have telegraph. There's a lot of different things you can do for the attacks. So in the combat system, if you just put down attack, it'll default to a combo chain for you. But you can go ahead and go in there and program things like medium, I think it's light, heavy. You can do a bunch of different attacks, string them together. You can do things like wind up. So the character will give you a nice telegraph, like Punch Out does in classic games, to sort of say, hey, dodge roll out of there or block. You can actually say that their attacks can interrupt you. So when it hits you, it can either play a hit reaction or not. There's a ton of different modifiers you can do. So, as the programming and as the whole game evolved, we've been sort of polishing and iterating on those characters. So here they're just basically tracking you, coming over next to you and doing the telegraph attack. As we got the combo stuff in and the different attacks, there was a lot more. So you gotta...
But of course you can change this to make them be whatever you want.
Right, you can make them attack super fast, no delay. We actually have a bunch of stuff where, for those really familiar with things like Batman Arkham, or Prince of Persia, we have circle AI, so the characters can circle around you. They can take turns kind of coming in and out of the circle and hitting you, and you can build like counter gameplay and stuff like that. All right, so here Rob's got the number floating up over there.
Yeah, so it looks like he's taking damage in the sword because it has a +5 regen on it, is every time it's ticking back up his health. And I think that's a good example of and you could do that with other stats, right? You could do more damage, you could do
absolutely
faster attacks. I mean, you could put anything on it that you really wanted. So
let's throw something really crazy at Rob.
Oh, I like this part.
This is why Rob is here.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You gotta come on screen too.
They were talking about random stuff. They said they wanted to see if we could do some randomization.
Randomization? Okay, so that plays into what I'm thinking. So let's do loot drops. So let's have it so when you kill the goblin, there's a chance that sword that we just added to this assembly and this inventory can drop out of the goblin. How about that? And then we've sort of got our circle on how to do an RPG.
All right.
And a summon magic power and maybe some real-time time of day and dual wielding.
Let's start with the loot drop.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to...
Okay. So people are asking for dual wielding again. I saw the video from last week. Because we're in constantly different versions, this is something I talked about a little while ago. The attachment stuff and some of the ways that we're doing things is in progress. And the attachment system is going to be bigger, better, faster, leaner, easier to use. And Eddie was going through with the new system, but had the old build, so it was pretty hard to dual wield.
Oh, so that was partially of the new system.
Yeah, so it's pretty hard to dual wield in the old build. But we'll show that when we start to show some of the cool new stuff again with the characters and the attachments. We promise we will show some of that cool stuff.
Yeah, dual wield, that's a big thing.
It is a big thing.
People really like that.
It's cool. All right, so here, let's see what Rob is doing. You want to let us know?
Sure. So I'm just setting up on the individual goblin a random number. So it starts as a number variable here. It's just set to 0, and then once it'll pick a number. Right now, just going to make it happen pretty often. So anywhere between 1 and 2, and that will happen when the goblin is created.
Right.
And then on here.
Cool. So going back into some of the structure on the programming, it's a when and then a do structure. So it's pretty easy to sort of get in here and just try some things and say, well, when this happens, I want this to happen. And then the visual programming language will actually offer you suggestions as you go. So it's really easy to tinker. A big part of the game you saw before, I made a change and I jumped right in. Rob's going to make some changes here. He might not get this perfect the first try. And iterate on it. That's a really big thing for the game design process. Really big thing, right? Is being able to try it out and tune it and change it and do those type of things. So is changing weather possible? I know my ADD, I read the chat. So is changing weather possible? Absolutely. We generate weather based on effects. So you can place effects in your world, and then you can set when conditions on when you want those effects to spawn or play or anything like that. So you can do all types of things like location, triggers makes it snow, all types of stuff. Maybe we can derail Rob to do some of that in a little bit, but let's get this game loop going here.
Okay, so I'm going to start by just putting you guys here.
Okay, so Rob's going to beat some of these guys up. You didn't do the ones.
I did not do once, so let's...
Spewing weapon of loot!
And this is interesting because, even earlier, right, I see Henry and Rob are trying out some things, and I walk over, and the way the process goes is like, hey, do this, and someone will be like, oh, I don't think that's going to work, and they'll do it like, oh, I got to put this here, and it's always these little tweaks you need to do because the game's going to do exactly what you tell it. So sometimes you got to move things around, and it's really kind of you learn all the time.
You left a massive loot drop in the other guy's brain.
All right.
Massive loot drop.
So this is what gets MMO designers fired when they do this live game, and all these loot drops come all at once.
All All right, so
When the epic mount drops at a gray for you,
we're
that's
good.
no problem at all. All right, so Rob's got some loot dropping now, and then you can just pick it up, grab it, and then hit the left bumper. And
Okay, and so it's not falling off everyone. So it's like it's basically
no, it's random. So
the
let's go
random
back
chance.
into the brain of what Rob did. So you can hit the left bumper, and then you can see it's still in the inventory. So you can pick up the crossbow, swap it out. So it all works now that it's hooked in. So let's go into what Rob did, and let's break down a little bit of the brain, so you can see what we did here. Now, there's a couple different ways to do it. Rob built the logic right here into the character. One of the things that I do when I've done this, and again, we talk about Project Spark. There's no really wrong way to do things. I actually have, when the enemy dies, I create a little logic cube, and then I keep my loot tables in that one thing, and then the logic cube does the roll for me.
Ooh, the logic cube.
So you can do a lot of different things like that. So let's see here. So Rob did loot roll. You can go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay. So once number variable loot roll equals 0, and then I have it pick a random value between 1 and 2. Again, you can change those numbers as you want. And then when is dead once, so we don't get the epic loot of epicness. When that number equals to 1, we're going to create that sword at position, and then I made this sword in the world a template. So it doesn't appear there, but it'll be created every time.
Right. And we talked about this before. A template is when you put an object in the world, you can call it back in the brains and it'll spawn and be used once, but if you make it a template, you can use it as many times as you want.
Can I throw out a curveball?
Well, yeah, 1 second though. Let's actually finish off the RPG loop here, and let's name this sword.
Okay.
So give us a username or somebody you want to give a shout out to, and we will call it some fun, epic swordness of something. So this way when the sword drops, you can see the name on it.
Oh, okay, so we're going to name it. Okay, that sounds good. Let's see. So any suggestions on the name? I think, it's Crow's first stream. He said he's, I don't know, he's saying something, I think he was playing other games.
Is he here though? He said he's playing
Yeah.
Black Ops 2.
Yeah, that's right, he was playing Black Ops 2.
That's what he said.
And I don't know, I don't know if we should name a sword after a guy that was playing Black Ops 2 instead of watching
Sharknado
this.
sword. I like the Sharknado sword.
Sharknado? Who's that? CG? How do you pronounce that?
And then what we can do after we call it the Sharknado sword, we could always have had it as spawn rock shark.
Oh, wait, it could be an attack, a proc, right? It procs
Yeah.
and a rock shark comes out and attacks for a little bit.
Yep. All right, so what Rob is doing here is he's saying display, and then he's putting in a text string for the name, and then he's saying where he wants it to display, which is above the character. So now, if he gets lucky and gets the loot drop, what did you set it to, like 50%?
Yeah.
So there's the Sharknado sword on
This
the ground.
game's too easy.
So there it is.
Hardcore isn't going to like this. You got to grind for hundreds of hours before you get a sword of that quality.
There you go.
No, that's great. No, and so the curveball question was, and I'm pretty sure you can do this, but you guys are the smart ones. So you create that sword in template, but what about, a lot of times, what's cool in RPGs and MMOs is like the sword drops, but there's some randomized. So you get this type of sword that drops, right, the Sharknado sword, but this might be one that has +3 health. This one might be +2
Well, there's definitely
defense.
a lot of different ways to do that. So
Yeah.
you could build into the brain of the sword something that rolls a random number. So what Rob showed here, if he goes back into the brain, is super powerful. I mean, that's just rolling a number for you, and it's on any kind of condition you want. We happen to put it on when the enemy's dead, but you could have that roll a number when you first equip an item. And then it could change the page to whatever stat bump you wanted to do, or it could just call out a variable, or you could even do like a Boolean and do a true and a false. So, I don't know, do you want to do something where maybe it sets its damage to a certain thing with another roll?
Sure.
Random damage, that would be horrible. It's like, oh no, this thing sucks.
And then
Can't
what we
kill
can do is we
anything.
can automatically, change its name to Crappy.
Crappy.
Crappy Sharknado sword.
Well, no, then we can name it after someone we don't like. Who don't we like?
That's true.
I'm watching you guys.
I don't know, is the guy playing Call of Duty there? With negative 10 health. Yes, I love those swords where you always have to trade off.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It does a lot of damage, but it makes you weak. Bruce Willis. What do you guys have against Bruce Willis? Sometimes he wears nice hats.
I'm not sure we could make as many swords. Well, we could
Crap-
probably make as
Crapnado.
many swords as there are Bruce Willis movies.
El Camilo says, or Axe says, crap NATO. So,
You know what would be awesome is if we made the Hudson Hawk sword, and when it hit somebody, it sang.
Oh, man.
Ooh, do we really want to do that?
You know,
We could. All right, so Rob's running off the rails here. He's rolling the dice. So he's throwing another loot roll in.
So I'll do the same kind of.
does the game pause when entering the inventory? I would guess no, but what do you...
To have to know how this person set up the inventory.
I would think
you could
no, but I
set
bet
it
you
up,
could do
though.
it, right?
You could set it up, though, right? Just say time factor 0.
This is
when
that
you go
time
in
where
there.
we're like,
Yeah.
could you?
Yeah. So Rob knows. He's been dealing with. Rob is Rob Time Factor Porsche is what we're going to call him
Time
now.
factor.
So
Wow.
Rob
like
would
that.
know that you can do that. That's something that's possible. So do we have some other questions while Rob's dealing with our latest riddle?
Well, we are doing some Futurama, references here.
So we've got Fry and Bender going?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Can weapons wear out? Yeah, that would be fairly easy. You could do something where every time a weapon hits somebody, you could have a counter going, and then you could do different intervals of that counter. So at like 10 or 20, you could do damage modifier reductions, and then you could eventually have the weapon break.
You could also damage it. It'll have a health.
Oh, well,
So
there you go. It has a health.
There you go, yeah.
So combat properties.
Why not
Swords with
Zoidberg?
health, right.
Why not Zoidberg?
I think that's something people... We should actually show that. I think it's something people lose track of. You can swap the character to anything. It doesn't have to be a character. It can be a tree.
Right, yeah, and that, I guess that's an important one. I mean, and Paul Miller from The Verge, like one of the very first videos at E3. That's what he showed, and it was pretty cool. But yeah, you can be whatever you want, whatever prop or item you want to be. That can be your character.
Okay, so Rob here set up that it's going to do a loot roll. Do you want a loot roll to be the variable, or you want to set up a new variable?
No, this is on the
Okay.
this is on the sword itself.
So people have been asking about display. You can see here what Rob did was display, then that text number, and then its location, the color, and then the size of it. So you can do a bunch of different things like that.
Okay, where did
And one of the questions about taking feedbacks and suggestions. I mean, one of the big things is this is going to be a product that ever evolves, and we're always adding things. We got a huge wish list of things that we want to do that we hope to have time to get to. So we're really looking for the community. We want to focus our time on creating the things that you guys want the most, that give the best impact. So absolutely, I mean, I'll tell you, Henry he doesn't miss a trick. He reads everything out there. So and a lot of team does. So definitely, we want to hear your feedback, and we want to do the things that you want to see.
We have ninjas that gather that information. So did you do anything to display what happened?
Yeah. So we go in here and run through it. So basically, again, set the loot roll to 0. When the loot roll equals integer 1 to 2. When it equals 1, I basically set its damage to equal the damage that's set in the properties plus 40. And then the medium, the same thing, whatever the medium damage is.
So you gave it
plus
all a 40
So I gave it a
stat
40
boost.
stat boost. And then when it's not equipped and the loot roll equals 1, it'll display the Sharknado. So if it's not the crappy sword, it'll be.
Oh, okay.
Sharknado.
So it is actually okay.
Yeah, so we can do that.
So it's
too.
not the crappy sword. That's pretty funny.
So we can
Call it something else. Crapnado. Crapnado 2. Sharknado 2. Sharknado Sword 2. Because I mean, it's gonna be part 2. That can't be good, right?
Yeah, because the sequels are never good.
I don't know, I feel like it's
There was
gonna
one
be like
thread about
Godfather.
games that they felt should have had sequels, and now they want to make them in Project Spark. I want to say, man,
That's
if only
cool.
Project Spark could make games that shouldn't have had sequels. Go
I
back
want
and not have
Return
it.
Fire. A new Return Fire. If anybody
Fire.
remembers Return Fire out there.
So look, there's
So
the
there we go.
Crapnado
So there's a
sword,
Crapnado sword.
and there's the Sharknado.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Oh, and he grabs the Sharknado.
Cool. So
Of
another
course.
thing you could have done was just put a whole bunch of different weapons and items in your world, called them like a table, and then made them all invisible. So this way nobody actually saw them and stuff like that. Cool. So do we want to kick off what you're thinking with hopping into 2D side scrolling? Do we want to show some weather stuff really quick? You want me to hop in and show some weather?
Sure. Go right ahead.
Okay, so we'll keep it really simple just to show one of the ways that you can put weather into the game. If you go ahead and you hop in here, and let me go ahead and...
Sure, you could make anything from scratch, right? You could make armor from scratch. So you put props together and you can build whatever. Build a sword, build a house, build
Let's
armor.
see, what should we do? Make it...
And when the attachment system's going better, we can probably give you a
Make it
good
snow.
example of that stuff.
So make it snow, I'm guessing.
So this is actually, we're
Items.
showing, this is the Win 8 version that we're playing on. This is the PC version. So they're playing it, they're just using the Xbox 360 controller, PC controller in it. So you'll be able to use mouse and keyboard. You can use touch if you have a touch screen. You can use controller if you want. You can really use all options.
Right. Okay, so I can go ahead and go in here, and this is our snow effects, and this is the older build. So this has actually been updated quite a bit. The snow looks quite a bit different now. So I can go ahead and I can put some of these down. I can go in here and I can scale it to generate some more snow. and I can just basically put a bunch of these in here. I could have put a when on here onto when they spawn, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw them in the world. And you can see now we've got some snow falling above from the ground. I could put them lower to make it kind of more to the ground. I could put rain. We've got a bunch of different environmental effects, but essentially the idea is they work just like anything else. You can sort of put them where you want and put as many as you want and color tint them like we showed last week and just do a whole bunch of different things with this. Cool. All right, so I'm going to let Rob kick us off here on the other build.
One thing I'd like to just kind of address, people asking kind of builds, why are we on the PAX build? And I'll give my assessment, but then jump in, Henry, because you know this stuff better. But, in the process, like teams are always adding new things and doing stuff. And so you have always different builds, and there's always, there's debugs, there's a search, there's things that are broken. Yeah. And occasionally we stop and, for like PAX or Gamescom or something special.
It's on there.
And we clear up the whole
Which one is it?
build. We take it and we make sure it's all polished so it doesn't crash, so everything looks good, so everything's working fine. And we don't want to do that too often. We could do that every day, but that would be all we would do. So they're doing a lot of development, and then eventually when we have a big milestone, we want to show something, get things in, then we turn around and do that. No, that's not, I get a little thing here that I can put up like that to hide when Rob's doing silly stuff or if he's making faces or something. So I don't know when the next new build is that we'll be able to show. I would guess it's probably going to be beta. I mean, team's really cranking away to beta, but I don't know. Can you speak to this, Henry? You're
Yeah, I mean, we're going to show new builds when they sort of get to the feature that we are discussing. Like, one of the things that we talked about is we like to actually show and kind of wait until things are demonstrable. So, like, we want to show the things that we can actually confirm. We want to show how they're going to work, why they work the way they do, and just in general, like, we've had some feedback around me probably we have this ADD where we're running around and we're doing a lot of stuff and answering the chat. And Mike, we talked about this early on. We could put out YouTube videos and have just some static things that show features, but we really want that communication. We want to be able to chat. That's why I love going back and forth with the chat, because this is all about the community making games and making their dreams and bringing their imagination to life. So being able to answer those questions and ask those questions back and forth in real time is super important. And that goes to the features things and being able to show them, because that's how we have the best meaningful conversations. I can tell you, what we may be doing, but we don't like really doing that. We like showing what we're doing. So specifically with this build, I'm gonna reveal Rob's wish for this build. So we added the ability to separate the analog stick by left, right, up, down, and we didn't actually have that done in time for alpha. And you can do it, you can make vectors to say left and right, but in the PAX build we have those things right there in the controls, and it makes it so much easier to do a side scroller. So that's why we switched from the alpha build to the desktop for a couple of minutes where Rob was loading up some baseball scores or something happened, and then over to this.
Listen, I can't believe they're eliminated, so I'm just making sure.
It can't be true, not the Yankees out. And one of the things is like when we get new features, we might show a build that isn't super stable. Like we sort of did it with, we're showing off some of the Connect features in the past and things like that. We're showing something that's not on maybe a perfect build that we just want to show a feature that's in. And then when we go into kind of, hey, we're going to build a game, we might go to a more stable one. And that's why we change builds sometimes.
Right, so somebody's asking, when will we reveal details around multiplayer? Multiplayer is one where I think we really need that feature to show exactly what the intent is. And there's just a lot of, components to multiplayer. I would say it's going to be probably later than sooner on the multiplayer review.
Can we quote you on that? Later than sooner?
Later than sooner, yes.
Later than, I'm going to
The attachment will probably be sooner than later. So.
Oh, an attachment
system sooner, and the multiplayer later. So. All right, so Rob here. So tell us what you did.
Okay.
You already got a world in here, right?
Yeah. So I'll show you really quick. Using the Snap to Grid, I just kind of created this little platforming area.
Rob's not an artist, by the way. He's a designer.
What are you talking about? This isn't not. Listen.
That is an amazing shade of, I think we technically call that shiny.
It's.
I didn't know that was a color.
Yeah.
Shiny shader.
Nice.
So just a little 2D platforming area, and now I'm starting to work on my character. So, like Henry said before, we have the left stick and we can separate it by directions. So,
which is why we have the broken little bolt there.
Yeah.
Because we don't actually have the art in for that in this build.
Yeah, so left stick right, we're going to move camera relative right, and move left stick left, we'll move camera relative left. And I'll set up a camera in a minute. Also, I just A button to jump, and I'm going to set our jump count to be 1.
So I saw Noodle's comment around objectionable material.
I was just answering that in chat.
So we have a
Well, my
moderation
answer, is that right?
We have a moderation system, and then we essentially have a mode where. So think of it this way: you can sort of set your settings to say you want strict. You don't want to see anything that hasn't been moderated and hasn't gone through a sort of safety check process, or you can just allow yourself to see the wild west. If there's something there that you don't want to see coming up in your feed, you can flag that, and it'll go away from your feed.
And if enough people do that, we'll just pull it out until it gets reviewed.
If enough people do that, it'll go into a review. But in general, there will be a moderation system, and people will be able to sort of choose their level that they want to jump in at.
Yeah, so for kids and stuff, it'll be a level where somebody from Team Dakota has actually reviewed everything that goes up on the kids level, so nothing's going to be up there that you wouldn't want them to see.
So, Rob, tell us what you did with the camera.
Okay.
I think that's one of the things that's really interesting.
So I wanted to create a 2D camera. So I went in and I created a boom camera, and then I went into the in-world settings, and I set the camera pack here, and I just framed out my shot. And then I locked the yaw to 270, so this way I knew that it would be
and 269 is wrong.
It actually 269 is wrong, and so is 271, and all numbers in between. But this way, it is locked at the plane that I created the 2D platforms at.
Right. And the cool thing about that boom camera is you're previewing as you're setting it. So I don't know if you can go back to that. I'll derail you for a quick second.
Absolutely.
It's incredibly awesome because you can tune this right here. So if you're doing a game where you want to have a lot of time seeing things coming up at you, maybe even an auto scroller level from some classic 2D games, you can push the character to the back. Or if you want to do something where you've got enemies that might come in behind you too, you can put the character in the middle. There's just a ton of options, and you can preview it right there, and the camera will stay at that spot unless you override it with another camera.
Right. And then I'm going to...
Parachute. No.
No.
But I like the parachute icon.
I'm going to...
Rob's going to parachute.
I might. I'm just going to set the jump height here. And then within those couple of lines, I have a little 2D area.
The river pond at different elevations. We always get that question.
We do get a lot of river questions. I'll leave it to another streams because since we don't have that on the plan.
We do have a lot to
But you can
here.
change the water elevation of the entire level, and you can add a water pool object. One of the reasons why we haven't shown the water pool object too much is because it's pretty actively in development. But the idea is that you can do a lot of cool things inside the water pool object. Somebody asked us if we can make rapids. So for example, you could put down a water pool object, you could put some cool effects on it, making it look like it's flowing in a direction, and then you can have little invisible logic cubes in there that push in a direction. So it's actually giving you a stream or a feeling of force. So there's definitely a lot of flexibility with water. There's a lot of things you can do with it. I would not say it's not dynamic water. It's not every single thing possible. And again, going back to what Mike says, which is super important, is this is an ongoing development. And we really hope as a team that once we go from beta, it's a collaborative development in a lot of ways. So, we want to listen to feedback, see what we can do, build, evolve things, and constantly improve. And if water becomes something that, maybe needs some more, things done or some more polish to it, we can think about those things. But I can say I've seen people do pretty cool stuff with water already. And it's just one of those things where we're constantly balancing how wide do we go versus how deep. Because you can go so deep that you get diminishing returns. And we want to make sure that people's imagination is the deciding factor. One of the things we deal with a lot is these questions of can you do it, can you do it, can you do it? And it's so damn hard for us to say no because it's sort of like if you think about it like the Lego thing when somebody shows you, here's my spaceship, and you squint and you're like, oh, I see it. That is the spaceship that you imagined. Even things that are sort of not like pre-planned and not on a very easy slider in Spark, you can do those things that people can still see what they wanted to out of it and basically get what they want done. So, a lot of possibilities.
Yeah. And there are a lot of things that we want to make things easier and put that in, and it's really up to you guys to let us know what's going to provide the most help. We want to do the things that are going to provide the most people the most benefit, so you guys can continue to make the really great stuff, because we're really only as good as what you create at the end of the day.
Somebody asked about render distance. Render distance is something we're looking at. It depends on what we want to use it for and how we want to use it. So I would say that there is some improvements from this build to the build we have on it, but I would say that the system's not 100% done yet either. But that's a good example of room where there's not just optimization, but because the nature of this game is that type of stuff can affect the games you want to make and how you do them and stuff like that.
Turn the water into lava. I mean, define lava, right? You can change the color, right? You could make it so it actually hurt somebody if they were there.
All right, so Rob's doing some amazing stuff while we're gone. And just to recap,
Mr. Amazing.
Project Spark, we've got a beta coming in October. Sign up at projectspark.com. We'll be available on Xbox 360, Xbox One, and Windows 8. And you can use multiple input devices. You've seen some examples of it today. You can make games with mouse and keyboard, and you can actually assign things to any key you want. You can make things with controller, and you can make things with touch. And then, of course, we've shown in a bunch of other videos. Those videos may be more embarrassing or less embarrassing for different individuals in this room. But you can actually record full body motion, voice, and facial expression with Kinect on Xbox One to make your own attacks, movies, impersonations, etc.
Forrest Gump, Marlon Brando.
So one of the questions is, I tend to fail. Oh, that's you, Mike.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks for calling that out, Henry. I thought maybe I'd slip that in without anybody noticing, but no, I mistyped the URL for signing
Right. So
up.
no, to be clear, the only beta that's coming in October is Windows 8.
Right. But you should sign up for, regardless of which beta you're looking for, sign up for the Windows 8 beta. Go ahead and sign that up, and we're going to make sure that we, we're going to work on the details for Xbox One, but I want to make sure everybody who's signed up and has been with us all along gets, preference on the Xbox One beta when we get there. So
Rob likes to do less than talk.
Yeah, all right. Well, you guys were talking. I figured I'd get some stuff in there.
Okay.
So I'll just show you where I'm at right now. A couple of things that I did is, in this player's brain, I set the world player to equal to me. That'll allow me to have other objects that will that I can have affect that player. And then I just place this apple here, and then when I bump it, I will play an effect, and I will increase the jump count from 2 to 1 for about 5 seconds. So,
cool. So a little power up.
just a little power up.
Cool. So talk about your process on how you started this off. So I saw the first thing you did was you put down the level.
Yeah.
And then you put in the character and some of the controls, and now you're working on like the jumping distance.
Yeah, I decided to put this power up here because, when I created it out, I didn't have the jump height set up, so this will help me be able to get through some of the bigger areas that I created, and I thought it'd be a fun little gameplay moments.
Yes, you can create a springboard. All right, so now you got some platforms.
Yeah.
So when you see things like that, again, that's why it's super powerful to be able to go in and out, to be able to try what you just did, to be able to iterate back and forth. It really is designers, in a lot of ways artists, best tool to be able to do that stuff. You could change the level design,
Yep.
right? You could change the character control. You could add a platform. All right, so let's see what we got. All right, so there we go. Give me 5 seconds, ticking. Oh, you got it.
Oh, so that was only...
That
was a temporary
power-up.
power up.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then I'm going to finish it off here. Just a couple of little things. So I don't have to, I can change the terrain, but everything I can do is...
No, you cannot give the floor brain. we had to come out, and that was the first no we ever had to get. So.
Well, yeah, it depends though, right? Because you could make a floor out of props.
Right. And
right?
then you
and
could
if
give
you
it
want to
brain.
make a floor out of props, then you can give that brains. And again, that's sort of the flexibility. Like if it's important for you to do something like you step on the floor and it shoots you up into the air, based on like different sections or tiles, make your floor out of props instead of terrain. Like,
Yeah.
That's not really a problem.
Yeah.
So can we do some fun stuff in here too? Once you get through the stuff you want to do, with like collecting coins and maybe showing like a goal.
Unlike this unfun stuff you're doing.
Yeah,
right?
no.
Mr. Unfun.
Fun game goal stuff. I want the game goals. Achievements should pop up, and fireworks and Ode to Joy should play when I get my last title in the spot.
How long is the stream? We can do it.
It's all about the rewards.
It is.
All right, so there's our Logic Cube buddy.
Yes.
Logic Cube has undergone a makeover.
More than once.
Yeah, we've got an official makeover on Logic Cube in the latest build. Okay, so you just used the path.
Yeah, I don't think I can show that though. They yelled at me.
No, I know.
I tried, guys. I tried. Logic Cube's so awesome.
The ninjas come out.
Those art ninjas, man, they're tough.
So yeah, I'm just using the path tool.
Nobody wants to hear Journey play. I don't know. Can you sing some Journey while Rob's doing this? Just
No,
to help him?
no,
Come on.
not Journey.
Oh yeah, you're all about give the people what they want, but you won't
Not
sing Journey. All right,
I'm
sorry,
trying-
Duncan. I
I'm
tried.
trying to
Yeah, I
help
have to draw the
help
line
him.
somewhere.
That's right. Okay, so the cool thing that Rob just did here is, you've seen a lot of the depths of the brain, right? We've got a lot of super smart designers in here, so a lot of people just want to show off and go to the brain.
Not
and you
necessarily in
can't
this
stop
room,
them.
but-
Not here now. But one of the really cool things is there are a bunch of different layers, and there's a lot of different layers of simplicity. So Rob just put down a path, and he's just grabbing waypoints and he's bending it, and that's directing wherever he wants to do this. And then he just went to the attachment and just attached the little platform that he built right to the mover. So now it's going to actually follow that path that you just did. And that was just like a couple clicks. Now he's lining it up right, and that little ball previews the mover.
We haven't done a lot with the pathing stuff. I mean, that might be something. I know there's still work being done on it, but it might be something for a future stream.
There's a lot of polish on the pathing stuff. So you can see Rob is still working in snap to grid. So that's why the path is sort of moving in those little sections. It's easier for him to line it up like this when he has the snap to grid on. But there is a bunch of stuff that you can actually do in the path now. It's just just like anything else, like if we don't do a good job of exposing it and making it discoverable, nobody's going to use it. So we're trying to do things to make things easier all the time, and trying to make them kind of just in general make it easier for everyone to use. And one of those passes is what we can do on the path. But if you go in there now, you can do things like the speed that it runs along the path. You can make it ricochet. It can go back and forth and stuff like that. So there's quite a bit of stuff you can do with the path right now.
Okay, and then.
All right, so here we go. Can I play? The ultimate test, right? Can I play?
Sure. Yeah, there we
Oh,
go.
the creative director wants to play your game. What could go wrong?
Oh
So
no!
you didn't go into test.
You said you wanted to play.
All right, here we go. Do 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 do.
No, that's not Journey.
So we could put like a spike pit in here or something at some point. All right, so I only have a single jump right now.
So you only have a single jump right now.
Let's hop in over here. And now I'm gonna have 5 seconds. Do you have a?
you have a
so
little-
the effect.
Yeah, I should scale
You need
that
a
up so
counter.
you can.
Yeah. So platform's coming. All right, so we have this.
All right, well that.
That's
platform-
kind of neat that you just put this and you're actually trying to carefully play
You actually
it.
broke it, but that's okay. I had to go down too
Oh,
far.
I fell
Oh.
off the side.
All right. Well.
All right, so I'm hopping over to here. So where do you want me to go? This way?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there we go.
All right, so hopping over to here. And I got a platform
what?
coming.
Yeah, it should be.
You missed the last platform. It only comes every 15 minutes.
Damn.
There you go. We can speed that up.
Every 15 minutes.
You might want to go follow it back.
All right. So another
Yeah.
thing that's cool is you can edit, or you can edit from here. So that's really important when you're iterating on stuff.
That's kind of neat. We haven't shown that.
So yeah, so you can edit right from there, which messed up Rob probably. No, I think it
Yeah.
helped him there.
Yeah.
So you can edit right from there, and that helps a ton.
That would have really been handy when we did that all the way up, that
Yeah.
pillar.
What are your intentions about enabling the ability to code world settings like sun, position, daylight during runtime? So we want to expose the rest of the world settings. We do have some that are exposed right
During
now.
runtime, yeah.
We have some that aren't. One of the things that isn't is the backdrops. So we've looked into that, and we can easily expose things like the sun. I don't know, people who have seen it in previous. You can move the sun, its sun side, and its location. But the backdrop swapping actually takes a bunch more work to be able to get those swap in real time. So again, hate to say you can do it. I've seen some cool ideas in Reddit on how you could do like a day and night cycle. I actually harken back to one of the days where, like, I remember playing a lot of sports games, baseball games, changing the time in between innings. So you could potentially do something where you level link into the same level, but the nighttime version. Reddit had a bunch of cool ideas with some kind of a light or some kind of a giant fireball moving across on an arc. Those are all things that are possible, but the ultimate sort of nirvana end goal would be swapping out the backgrounds in real time, changing the actual sun side in real time. It's something we want to do, and it's on the roadmap, but I don't know when we'll get around to that.
Okay, you said you wanted some coins in here?
Yeah, let's do some coins and maybe like an end.
And Howler makes a good point. Like, you could actually hide objects behind clouds or stuff and then have them go away and reveal.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
and that's
cool.
something I don't think either of us had thought about until he just brought it up. And we're like, yeah, that actually
when
works
I think
too.
of what was it, Eternal Sonata, right? Like, I think of a lot of those gameplay mechanics that can come with like day-night cycles. The enemies changed over in the night. I think it was Eternal Sonata. But you can do things too with the lighting, right? Like, Eddie showed a bunch of really cool world lighting effects and stuff like that. And a lot of people were immediately riffing on great game ideas. And I was thinking a bunch of stuff too when I saw that, like making people run away from the lights. You can do like the Metroid Prime Ultra World thing where you have to get in the light to heal yourself. You can do a lot of stuff with the lights, and I think creativity rules. And people are going to blow our minds when we actually get this out there.
So yeah, I'm typing in, but Pat Preeker is asking like, well, could you make a mechanic where you fell off the edge and grabbed and pull yourself up? And it's like, absolutely. I don't know animation if we have it, but
yeah. So animation for climbing is something we want to. We don't have. It's been asked before for climbing. Rob's actually done sort of a pitfall type of game, so you can actually fake the climbing.
Yeah. Basically, what I did in that was I had it move with flying world up, and when it detected the ladder, and then I would force its velocity to jump out in the direction that I wanted to.
So the animation wouldn't be super polished. You might be able to fix that with Kinect, and then go ahead and record your own animation for that instance to try and polish it up. But you can do the gameplay of it. The other thing that we talked about around actually grabbing a ledge, I haven't done a ton of it, but I assume you could put a specific prop in, and when the character hits that prop, it could automatically bump them up. It could automatically hold his position or maybe stick him there. So there's probably a bunch of different options there.
I mean, in like the first game you demoed at the beginning of the screen, like that had some of those mechanics where you jumped and you were kind of pulling yourself up ledge-like, and you could do that have that only happen in a certain area. So I think that it's definitely doable.
So we haven't announced anything about Kinect supported on Win 8 right now.
We're not against it. We think that's a great idea, but the team's focusing on Xbox One, on the Kinect on Xbox One right now. And given the time, like, there's a real long wish list of things we want to do. So it's not like, hey, no, we don't want to do it. But I guess, and part of it is how hard it's going to end up to be and how much time it would take.
Yep. So some people are asking things like RPG or some other game types and stuff like that. We've got a bunch of different streams. They're up on YouTube. Mike can link you guys to that kind of stuff.
Maybe, because I feel it linking today.
I think in general, like, we're going to try and get through lots of different types of genres and stuff like that. They're great questions. Everybody loves to go through sort of their favorite genre, and I hope we can get around to them and get them all done. We'll have different people in, different genres we'll tackle. What I'm really excited about, though, is I want to see new genres. That's what I love when I go through the community and I see just, things. I almost needed the censor button there for a minute. When I see things that I've never seen before,
I'm so not prepared to get there.
You were not. That's the stuff that gets me super, super excited. So Rob's working on putting in some gameplay. Some people have suggested things like where you walk can paint the level for you. That's stuff we've shown before. You can definitely do stuff like that. I've been bugging Rob to try and get a game over loop here into the game with some coin collecting.
Yeah, and I think it's important to point out, like right now, guys, that since the game's, the beta hasn't begun, we're the only ones that really have the source of information here. But once the beta starts, it's not going to be an NDA. So everybody who gets into beta is going to be able to Twitch stream what they're creating, create videos, and do that. And I think you're going to see stuff that's going to make you guys look back on our streams and laugh compared to what the community's going to create and show and teach. And it's going to be amazing. I'm super pumped about that.
Yep.
So what do you want? Do you want like a key to end it, or do you want just a pile of
coins?
Up to you.
Whatever you want to do.
Let's just put a key.
I think one of the things we haven't shown is the game over state. So there's a pretty simple and easy game over state that you can put in. And when you're playing the game over state takes you out of the level and back to the community UDC screen. But when you're editing your own game, the game over state just kind of, backs you back out. So it's obviously you don't want to go back to the community screen. But it's one smart tile, and it actually solves a lot of things for you automatically. So before you go, people want you to at least paint your level. There's
Absolutely.
artists everywhere cringing.
There are some upstairs that are cringing.
I know. I think Schuber's away at a meeting today. Otherwise, he'd be in chat. He'd probably be running down here. Going, oh my god.
Well, one of the things you hear about is like the part of the design process of making games is whiteboxing stuff, and sort of Project Spark is the ultimate white box because you can move things, manipulate them, and iterate on the fly and back and forth. But Rob could have colored this in before, and painted this in before he started any of his game mechanics. But Rob's a designer.
Yeah.
And we just go right for the gameplay.
So you want to go to game over, or do you want a little fade in here?
Whatever you want.
Sure, let's put a...
Painted black. It might be a song.
Can you sing that?
What is with the singing?
I don't know, dude. Well, I think after your acting last week, everybody's just like, wow.
Is that last week? Ooh,
Doesn't it feel like it was like a month ago?
It does.
Man, it's the days just blend together
it
here.
does feel like a long time ago.
There'd be a level up system I could do. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, these are.
Yeah. What was one of the videos where we showed that? Was it Slayton's video on the action RPG from default properties?
Yeah,
I think
you're right.
it was, right? Because
Yep.
he unlocked the fireball.
And those goblins kept growing in
Right.
size, and then they got
Right.
really
So
too big.
basically, to explain this kind of in a way that makes it universal is you can put a counter, and that counter can count up any kind of event you want. So you could say something like when you defeat an
here's the
enemy.
paint. Here's the paint.
Here's the paint. Here we go. And you can see here the paint is smart, so it's wrapping around the side,
Which is
it's
good for
wrapping
Rob,
around
'cause
the
he's not an
top,
artist.
It's wrapping around the bottom, and you have sort of overhang and stuff like that hanging below. So and again, when you make a counter, you can make it kind of count up whatever you want, right? So, for example, when you kill an enemy, you can have it add, say, 10, just a number of 10 to your counter, and that 10 can be your experience. And then you can go ahead and you can put in sort of a check, and you can check for intervals, and you can say something like 100. And a simple way that I like to do it is, when you hit the 100 interval, you can switch pages on your character, and that can level them up. It can make them bigger. You can actually scale up the entire character model. It can give them more damage.
Maybe it makes
can
you
give them
smaller.
more health. It can make you smaller. So yeah, you can fully build a level up system within your games. So Rob's using the biome tool. So this is putting down objects and paint simultaneously.
Man, he looks like an artist. Look at this guy.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
that was just so quick.
You did miss one spot. There you go. You got it.
You can't. I don't know how you code for that.
I know. But you can see here it's putting down rocks, and it's putting down a bunch of plants and things like that. And there's just a bunch of really cool and quick things that you can do with the biome stuff.
So we're right at about 3:59 here.
Yeah,
so,
we are heading towards the end.
Okay.
So let's see Rob's end game state.
So you can see there's a little coin in there.
Cool, and it's collecting.
And that was a default brain in there. I didn't put any of the HUD in there.
Yeah,
So,
that's good. I like that. That's really when you put the background. Now it really feels very. That's.
although I can't see my apple, but
Do you want to probably like put the camera down or tilt you to get a? Oh, you blew!
Oh, and he went off the edge. See, that's where you need the ledge grabbing, right?
yeah.
Oh my god.
All right, we're gonna do this,
All right, Rob's got it now.
and I'm not even gonna cheat and edit that.
Oh, that's really cool. That background that just came like that. It just sort. I didn't even expect that it would. Looking at that platform like that.
All right, here we go.
All right, I do need to.
You got your apple.
He
got
got,
my
his,
apple.
he got his invisible apple.
Yeah, I need to scale that up.
So here we go.
Oh,
You can easily make the apple bigger.
Oh, you know-
Oh, you put a bad guy in.
I did put
But
it
you
back.
didn't do anything with him.
Well,
No, he's if I bump into him, he kills me.
he's union.
Instantly?
Yeah,
Whoa.
He's on break.
this is old school.
I was gonna
platforming.
say, you channeling Rare or something.
Yeah.
That
Old school Rare.
is awesome.
One hit kills. Jump onto the new screen and there's an enemy standing there on the platform.
Paradox Moose, you
So
laughed. That
I
could
love
totally
that. Look
happen.
at
Oh.
way too soon. So look at the overhang. So cheat your guy up there and get the end game stuff so we can wrap and show the game over. So you can see the overhang has that automatic paint stuff on it, and it's just amazing how quickly you can. And with touch, it's even more impressive. It's just kind of go like this, and then you're already filling in your world. All right, so Rob's gonna put his guy over here, and then give you an idea of the end game.
I would have rather seen a cheat code, but
Oh.
hey, what was that? Was that a beta key? What?
That
Rob
is-
did a terrain bug.
Oh, look at that.
Just put him in the wrong spot.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you had him on the edge.
So there we go. Oh, you're still flying through though.
All right. Well, you know what?
All right, so there we go.
That was a pretty traumatic ending.
It was. It was the extreme close-up ending. Did you plan for that one? You can't grab it. Move the coin.
All right, wait. No, it's programmed wrong.
That would do it.
This is why most people don't design games live. If you've ever noticed that,
Yeah.
people don't do that. This is exactly.
Well, again,
why.
it's part of the iteration, right? Like, this is why it's so powerful to see what is working, what isn't working, what's exactly the way you want it, what isn't, because it's so important to be able to go back and forth and play your own game. You know, this is one of the things that I always talk about as a designer. Play your own games, and, you know, you're going to be amazed what you learn and how you improve from that, and, you know, how you find things not working. Still not working.
It did. There, it was a game.
Oh, there you go. So
Yeah,
I thought you faded.
I
must
did. The fade is.
You didn't.
I think I cut, man. I'm sorry.
So there you go. So you grab the key, and you can do things like have a game over screen, have a score tally, all types of stuff on your game over screen.
It was great. One of the very first levels that when we finally let in some external people from the community in, they made a level and it had a complete win condition, fail, game over. I mean, really well done.
Yeah, no, there's a bunch of cool stuff. So, you know, I did a blackjack game, and I wanted to show your bankroll and all that type of stuff at the end of the level. So you can have a game screen come up and stay on for a couple seconds, something you can restart. That was something that I set up. Something where you can just hit the button and get past it and all that types of stuff. So, you know, there's a ton of stuff. We could scroll past the props, but I think the screenshots that are out there of the advanced build is the best thing, is the sneaky screen grabs is the best way, because this is the PAX build and there isn't a ton of new stuff here. And frankly, what's here that you guys haven't seen may have actually changed because there's a lot of placeholder.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where, you know, the team's constantly working on that. People keep asking, well, all we see is the troll and the goblin. Like, why is that? And it's like those are the only characters that are done a lot, where there's a lot of other characters that are done 40% or 50%.
Right.
So we can't really show them, but those are the two that we've done complete enough that we can actually, I mean, they're not even done really, but have been done enough that we can show it off. And it makes more sense to do all the characters at the same time at the same level. So when they all come in, they'll come in. But we'll be doing some big reveals when we get those. Believe me, we'll make that big news and stuff. So
anything we're missing, Mike?
I think that was good. We did allude to, if we had enough people in the stream, we'd kind of show off something cool. But I don't think we can we? Not what we were thinking of showing off. Because we don't have that.
How many? What was your goal?
I don't know.
Did you set a bar? Can you change the speed on the guy, make him super quick?
So what I thought was, like, if we had as many people as we had on Tuesday stream, where we maxed out at like over 2,100 people.
Wow.
And today I think we're up about 2,400, 2,500.
Well, it's up to Mike. We'd have to load the new build, so it'd be a couple minutes of Mike singing Journey.
The whole Journey thing.
But it's up to Mike. I don't know if we hit our threshold.
Oh, we definitely hit our threshold. So let me see. So you know which build it would be? I'm just wondering how quickly we could do it. I don't want to have everybody run off. I mean, people have been staying up late. These guys are changing their schedules to see this.
That's true. You tell me whether the threshold was hit.
The threshold was definitely hit.
All right.
Absolutely, we should totally do it.
We'll switch off so we don't go to Rob checking baseball scores after he runs through here.
So hang on, don't pat. Well, we'll keep the camera going
so you can see Rob sped up his character immensely.
I also sped up the platform.
Sped up the platforms. So again, really quick and fast. You can build a lot of fun in just by doing stuff like that.
Okay. So
we design our own health bar. Yeah, you can have a bunch of different things represent your own health bar. The easy default health bar is the one you saw though.
So let's
all right. So let's grab the other build.
And you want to just go to you should be able to just load that in with
all right, so now we're on
we got the installer right down there to the right.
All right. So this is going to take a minute. Anything you can do to speed up time. So yeah, there's a time factor. I don't know if Rob can multitask here, but maybe you can talk about how time factor works.
So yeah, time factor will either speed up or slow down the animation.
Do you want to close out that other one first?
Yeah. Of whatever object you have that code on. So if you have it at time factor 0, it'll be completely still, and if you have it at time factor 2, it'll be 2 times the normal speed. And that'll affect like its attack animations and movement animations.
Yeah, somebody actually did in the alpha build. I saw it up just the other day. Whichever one you said was the last.
Okay.
Yeah. They actually built like an AE, like an area effect radius bomb that actually sort of slowed everything down, and it was pretty cool because it was like localized and was on a button press. So like that power to slow down time was all in control, like all in your control. So it's pretty sweet.
So we do streams every Tuesday at noon Pacific time and Thursdays at 3 p.m. And we'll, especially with the number of people that are starting to show up, like this week we had really a lot of people from both times. That's thanks to Twitch TV for giving us some promotion there, getting the word out.
Well, thanks to everybody that comes out.
Yeah, we really appreciate you guys coming out and sitting with us. So, I mean, if
It'd be really weird if there was no one else here.
yeah, I'm not going to go into my past, but,
So let's make sure this works correctly since we loaded it up.
But
just now.
yeah, the type of response we're seeing, you guys seem to like this, and we'll keep doing it. And just you got to let us know like what you want to do. There's a lot of threads. I know Pino is offered to try to collect some suggestions and do that. And we're going to show you something real cool right now. We're just getting set up off screen, and so I'm trying to distract you with my hat and song and dance. So make sure you've signed up for beta. It's www.projectspark.com. We'll start off the Win8 beta very slow. We may not let many people in initially, just to make sure that it's stable and everything's working. And obviously, there's always going to be little things we might need to fix. But we're going to quickly ramp that up as soon as we can prove out that all our systems and back-end stuff can handle things. And I really can't imagine that we won't eventually get everybody in. I can't tell you how soon, but even if you haven't signed up, it's like, go ahead and do it. And we'll be doing other things. We'll be helping out people that are creating and doing stuff. We'll be handing out beta keys. We really want everybody in. I mean, we really do.
Yeah, and sign up soon. Get in there. We want to see what you're going to make. All right, so this is work in super progress.
So if it crashes,
super progress.
Blame Rob.
Okay,
That's what
so a lot of people have been asking about themes. We've said it before. We will confirm there will be different themes at some point. We will talk about them later. That's another later than sooner. But let me give you an idea here. This is one of the textures. This is the coast texture. And I'm putting this in here specifically because it's one of the easier ones to see. But I'm going to the coast texture. And again, all super placeholders. So sort of ignore some of this stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to recolor tint this texture. And let's get it to look somewhat evil and kind of red river flowy here. So I can just go ahead and just like you saw us do with the characters, I can tint this texture. I can actually go into the scatter. So the scatter is these little items here that pop up on the ground, and I can tint those as well. And then just like that, you can see that coast texture changed into something quite a bit more ominous.
So this doesn't look like Arctic or woodlands or...
No, none of those.
It almost looks like very sci-fi to me. So.
None of those.
Interesting. So you're saying maybe I could make a sci-fi environment with tinting.
Maybe something.
Something like that, guys.
Creativity.
So, this is just one of those little things we wanted to show you. Like, there's really a lot of stuff you can do. And this is a good example of a feature that just got in on a build that, thank God, it lasted that long. We just want to show this stuff up. So
there you go. So Mike promised, unbeknownst to me, and we delivered.
Throw me under the bus. And no, but yeah, absolutely, guys. So yeah, that's the tinting that you can do and tint to train and make things do that. So you can do a lot of different cool stuff like that. So appreciate you guys coming out. Thanks to the folks at Twitch for doing that. Appreciate all you guys. Rob coming up here and putting up with us. Henry doesn't get any thanks because we're in this ship together.
That's all I do now.
Yeah.
I just come here.
So
thanks again for
make
everyone.
some suggestions on the forums wherever we don't want to see you next week.
We don't ask this a lot, but spread the word. We want more people to create awesome stuff, and we look to a lot of people that are excited and see our videos to sort of help spread that word and get everybody excited and make great stuff.
Yeah, and thanks, guys, and all the first timers, Crow, Blood Captain. Everybody else, thanks.
Thanks,
and hope
everybody.
to see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, now we got to wait a few minutes because now we said bye. Because otherwise, hold on.
I unceremoniously ran over my cup several times.
So I can do this, and then I can mute it so it looks like the news.